as possible. And that struck a chord in my head. And to this day, I don't use a lot of big words. I don't know a lot of big words. Shit, what was 2 weeks ago? I just got into insurrection and
and you had to look it up. Insurrection was a new one.
And the other one too, seditious.
Seditious, you had to look that one up.
Every 5 years when there's a new court, something big happening, we had the OJ trial, we had defendant. Now I knew about defendant, but they said defendant. And then all of a sudden somebody said sequestering. I'm going, oh God, I got to look that up too. So every year I learn some new words, man. So but,
you can do it. You can do it every day, George. You could just. I think they have something on the computer where you learn a new word every day.
Vocabulary, but you don't get to the right place where you want to use it at the right time. So you learn it, then you forget it. But I would like to go back to school and learn more. I like to learn more history. I like to learn more of everything.
Well, can't you do that on your own? What do you need a school for?
I'm lazy. Oh, it's right there. You're right. You're on the computer. You can go on the computer every morning and learn.
So you need someone to tell you? You need someone to give you an assignment?
I'm old school. I need to sit in a chair with a
number desk.
I need a desk. I think I would do better with the going to school, the actual being in class. Then I don't know how these young kids are getting away with online
learning.
Yeah, that's got to be pretty tough.
It's terrible. It's tough for everybody. Their parents are going crazy. Everyone's going crazy. Everyone's in the house. They're going nuts.
Yeah, but I did that. I wanted to go to school to get a financial cushion, and then I sold rags when I got to college. What
do you mean you sold rags? What is it, 1902? What do you mean you sold rags?
Let me tell you something, young man. I am old. I've been doing comedy since like 1853. Long time.
What does selling rags mean?
It was a job, man. You'd be surprised how much money people make selling rags.
Like rags that you wipe things with?
Yes, sir. You'd be surprised. I used to say, your rags to riches. I think I did that.
I did. Sounds like
you sell rags to mechanics. The mechanic has the rag, and
where'd you get the rags to sell? Did you work for a rag selling company, or is there a place where? How does it work?
I know this sounds really stupid. A guy sold rags and riches.
I like it.
That was when I got to New York. I needed to make some money to get a financial cushion. I read an ad. This is how old I am. When I was young, you had to go to the newspaper to read that want ads. Remember that?
Uh-huh.
No, you're too young to remember.
No, of course ads. They had the want ads in the back.
Yes. And so it said $150 to $300 a day. And check this out. And I checked it out, and it was selling rags. And the name of the company was Cleveland Cotton Products. Now, I went to school in Akron, Ohio, which is 30 miles down the road. I went back to Cleveland to learn how to sell rags and processing of rags. You'd be surprised how many people need rags. Restaurant need rags. Car dealership needs rags. Doctor's office need rags. Everybody needs rags. Schools need rags to clean.
So you were deep into the rag racket.
Man, let me tell you something. I sold ShamWow in 1972.
Wow, man.
I sold ShamWow in 1970. I didn't have a name for it then. It was just called a disposable cloth.
Yeah, and it was called the rag.
Yeah. No, it was the new rag that was a disposable, reusable cloth.
Okay.
That's the first day I ever made $3,500 in my life.
Selling those?
Selling rags. I sold it to Earl Scheib. And I used to have a pen, just like this little pencil would stick in my pocket. It was a scale. I could weigh a rag. And I get the biggest rag they have, and I says, I would weigh the rag. How much is this? How much are you paying per pound for rags? They said 23 cents. I got a rag here weighs 8 ounces. Oh man, that's 12 ounces just for one rag. I can sell you a brand new universal cloth every day. And you can reuse it. Reusable, brand new cloth.
Wow.
And I had to change their way of thinking
around the rags, and that's how you made your fortune in rags.
I'm one of the first people to sell a disposable cloth at the dentist's office. It used to be a white napkin they would put at the dental office. But as you know now, they put a handy white with a plastic backing. I sold that many years ago. So
you're like a pioneer. You're a rag pioneer.
Well, I didn't make it. I'll just sell the shit. It was I sold a lot of PPE equipment way back then. So before ShamWow came out, I was selling that. And I made a lot of money doing that. And then I wanted to sell advertising. Yeah. And then I sold everything at Times Square.
Yeah.
The 5,000 buses in New York City. I was vice president of that outdoor advertising company.
Really? On the buses?
Yes, all the 5,000 buses in New York City, Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland.
How'd you get that job?
I was sitting at Ammonia Square in Athens, Greece, with a friend of mine. We was just talking about some careers, and there was a friend that he knew that was working
in Greece. You were in Greece? Athens,
yes.
Greece, and this is before you started doing comedy. You were just in Greece. You took the subway there? What were you doing in Greece?
I took the Greyhound. I drove the back way. A lot of people don't know you can drive in Europe if you go the back way. Listen to me. But we were sitting talking about careers, young men talking about careers, and there was a guy that he knew that made like $70,000 a year selling advertising, space. You know.
So, but this sounds like you learned how to hustle. So you learned how to sell. I mean, you had to sell this stuff. So that got you involved with people.
Still wanting to be a comedian. Let's make one thing perfectly clear.
Yes, sir.
Learning how to sell a product is the same thing as learning how to sell a joke. You got to go on stage and present the package.
Right.
So I sold to. I had big accounts. Let's put it like this: when I was in New York City, Catch a Rising Star, 1976, I was making $75,000 then as a young kid. And people said, "You're going to quit that to become a comedian?" I never cared. All I ever wanted to do was become a comedian. Never wanted to do any television, never wanted to do any movies, anything like that. Just wanted to tell jokes because I knew of Red Fox and all of the guys, Patrick Henry. And
Red Fox was so fucking funny, man.
I knew them, and they were working in Las Vegas, and we were told that Patrick Henry and Don Rickles, they were making $300,000 a year. That's all I need to make. What the fuck I need to wonder? That's all I wanted to make. And
so when you decided to start doing it, did you have an act?
Yes, because I had studied at New York City. I studied. Seinfeld and I started together in 1976 at Catch a Rising Star.
Was Catch?
That's why we're still best friends 45 years right now. We started together at Catch a Rising Star.
So do you remember what was it, an open mic night or what?
Yeah, Monday night. Did you do that?
Yeah, I didn't have the pride. I couldn't sit there and wait for Lewis to decide when I was going to fucking go on. So I stayed downtown or I went to the old Improv. I could not tolerate Louis Ferranda having any control over my life.
I'm looking for my phone. I wanted to call Lewis and say how he fucked up your life.
He knows.
And he's still doing it at Caroline's. Isn't that amazing?
I think we're okay. Him and I've addressed that. So
I'm sure.
So who was around when you guys first went up? So where'd you meet Seinfeld? At Catch?
At Catch, he was sitting at one. I was my first time little black kid at the end of the bar. He was a little long-haired Jewish kid at the other end of the bar, and we started talking, waiting to go on. And next thing you know, that we started to bond and hang together. And
who was in charge of putting you on? Was it Rick?
Well, Rick was the boss, of course. You had Belzer and you had Bill Maher. And you had Adrian Tost.
So, but Belzer, who ran the Monday night?
One of the three.
And so you're just this guy, and you had an idea. Because I remember seeing where did I see that? The picture I used to look at.
I had no fucking idea what I was doing. I was a preacher. That's what you're getting ready to say, right? I was in a robe. Yeah,
that picture, that comic strip in the robe, in the preacher robe.
When you start and you don't know what you're doing.
So you decided on a preacher?
I went to a little comedy school, a little comedy class, Irvin Dalvin, and me and Rick Overton and quite a few guys. We were in the class. And
Overton?
They would tell us, Rick Overton, do what you do. And all I did, I'm a little country boy from Atlanta, Georgia, coming out of the church, and I would always mock the preacher, and he thought that was a great character. And I had to put on the robe and the Jewish highest high. And then I had the Yellow Page telephone book. You remember the Yellow Page was that thick?
Yeah.
That was my Bible, the good book of Bell.
Yeah.
Whatever you want, look it up in the book. I was known as the Reverend George Wallace back in the day. Look it up in the book.
And that was your shtick. That was your hook.
Yeah. And I was good at it too until I got to the Nevele Hotel up in the mountains.
Wait, so you're doing the preacher shtick and the phone book, and it was all improvised? You just kind of, what'd you go with?
Stock jokes. They were everything. I was all, it was Dave. Day one, I didn't know shit. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was having fun. I do have the personality to go up and sell myself. That's what I think most people, that's one of my formulas, sell yourself.
Catch a Rising Star at that time, everybody was hanging out there. That was a big place. I mean,
Are you kidding me? That's where David Brenner was, man. That's where Johnny Carson would come in and
Brenner,
and Pat Benatar, man, the biggest Steve Bluestein. Len Brusler, Jay Leno. Oh my God. And I got to go on stage and your pay was a meal if you wanted a hamburger or a steak. When you made it, and going there and being able to make people laugh, as a young person, and they had a band.
That's right. They had didn't they have Italian food there?
Oh yes, that's what I was going to say. A shrimp scampi. Oh right. My God, was that good? Yeah, and I think it was run by the Italians.
yeah, I remember. Yeah, but that was before my time. So you started doing it, and who's your crew? It's you and Seinfeld, and who else?
Well, what happened was they were also building the comic strip 2 blocks away. So we were not regulars there. Kelly Rogers and, like I said, Elaine Boozler and all of those guys. They really
you were just open micers?
Everybody was, but that was their club. So
yeah,
the comic strip opened. So we went over there. I went over there to sell them advertising.
Really?
Put them on the buses in New York City.
What was that guy's name? Richard
Tinkin.
Yeah.
Richard Tinkin and Bob Wax, who also went on to manage Eddie Murphy.
Right.
So I said, I do a little act. After I said, you need to put your business on the street. In the back of all of these buses, I'm going to put you on 100 buses going up and down 2nd, 3rd Avenue. Eat, drink, and be merry at the comic strip. And back in the day, you couldn't get into the clubs. They were just packed.
Yeah.
They were packed. And so
it was like a new thing.
Yeah, it was a new thing. And I said, I do a little comedy myself. They said, well, come in tomorrow night, Thursday night, and audition. I went in my robe and my telephone book and my briefcase.
Yeah.
And just the right Reverend Dr. Joy. And they bring it up with music. So I would go up on, oh, when the saints go marching in, and the whole audience would get into it, having fun, and they bought it, and I've been on stage every night since then. And I learned as I grew out of the, you can't do stock jokes. You got to learn how to be you, as they say. You don't even know who you are.
Well, what was that? What happened in the mountains, man? How did the good Reverend end?
Let me tell you something. I went up to the mountains. There was an article yesterday. David Letterman just did a show with Neil. I forgot Neil's name. Brennan, yeah. And they talked about a guy that never bums. George Wallace, that's another guy. He never bums. But they never met me before this night. I was up in the mountains, man. I don't know whether you've ever bummed. I like to have a good time on stage, but I was in the mountains. I had to do 45 minutes. Who the fuck told me that I could go to the mountains in front of all of the Jewish people that know all of the jokes in the world? And I had stock jokes. Somebody thought I could go up there and make $100 a night or $50 a night for 45 minutes with no real act.
Right.
I went on that stage and I did my jokes. I got no laughs for 45 minutes.
Ooh,
nothing.
That hurts.
But I stayed up there. Oh, they were doing cling, 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 cling. No, this didn't hurt. This was worse than my mother's funeral.
Oh.
And driving from New York.
Yeah, your heart died.
Listen, driving from New York back to New York, I really, really wanted to drive off the Tappan Zee Bridge. No, you don't understand what bad is. It was bad, man.
Oh, believe me, I've been doing this more than half my life. I definitely know what bad is.
Not this bad. Not this bad. This is, crying bad. And I got a little better. And 3 years later, I went back up to the Nevele, and I did, I did a better job. And there was an old Jewish lady. She was a waitress there. She tapped me on the shoulder. She says, much better this time, eh? Yeah. So I did that with the Reverend, and then I learned. And
so the Reverend died with the Jews. Is that what you're telling me?
I continued to do the Reverend. I got better. And then I was so good at selling advertising, I went out to Los Angeles to sell advertising. So I did that. I had balls, man. I went to Universal. I put Diana Ross up on the bus. I put Elton John up on the buses in New York City. I was good.
But so you're not one of these guys sort of like only stand up. You kind of have one foot in the regular world too, huh?
Well, I had to have a financial cushion to do what I wanted to do. I had a brand new Lincoln after making that money and selling advertising and rags. So I had a little money to do it. And when I started, I had a car. If you had a car in New York City, all the other comedians he got a car. He got a car,
You're driving them around,
yeah,
huh?
Drive me and Seinfeld could drive around. And
were you doing road gigs here too? I mean, before?
We did the little things around New Jersey, all over and out on the island. And
you and Jerry?
Ben Jerry and Paul Reiser and Larry Miller.
Yeah,
Larry. But I didn't stay in New York long enough. I was only there for 6 months because of my personality. I had the people going crazy and getting standing ovations. So, once you get to be that good, it's kind of like Killing at the Cellar every night. Once you start killing at the cellular, maybe I should move to the bottom of another level.